Hello guys, Sendou here again. So I want to make just a simple video about what builds I use and why I use those weapons, and maybe explain a bit about those builds. And I plan on making this regularly, so you can see like when my thinking changes. And I should also probably say, like, of course, you know, I'm still like learning about this game, and I'm still like adjusting everything I use and so on. So nothing I show in this video is the final truth. It's more like what I have, what currently matches with my own thinking, or what I have found through like trial and error. But to start off with my most used weapon, Rabbit Blaster, which I'm heading towards maxing. Usually for Rabbit Blaster, I almost always use the usual special charge up visor. And this is helpful because it's really like hard to get bombers for this weapon otherwise. The last patch made it so that you need 210 to actually get a bombers, and that's a lot, and bombers is really good, so I want it more often. For Rainmaker, I often go for a set like this. And typically I like to pick up the Rainmaker, so of course you have the 6 subs of swim speed to help you with that, and that's really helpful. Ink resistance I also use for almost every build. It's just ink resistance, especially for like bomb rushing. You can really easily get stuck in enemy ink and stuff, so ink resistance helps with that. And otherwise, like, when you think about how this weapon works, it's pretty slow to shoot. So, you know, when I get stuck in ink, even if it's like fastest blaster, it's still pretty slow to shoot. You get like fast shoot your own feet. Like, there's pretty like huge lag. Yeah, like if I shoot my own feet, it's pretty huge lag. If I play something like Junior, it's less faster to like ink your own feet. So that's why I usually use like ink resistance for blaster, and it also helps you deal with like in 1v1 situations when you're using rapid and so on. Then you don't take damage as easily for like standing in enemy ink, which can, like, you know, be helpful in surviving that fight. And just going back to the gear selection screen, Object Shredder, it's something I like using for Rabbit. So Object Shredder, it affects everything that's not a player basically. So it affects the ink armor, it affects beacon, it affects sprinklers, it affects ballers, most notably it affects Rainmaker shield, it affects sponges, it affects brellas, it affects rails. So it affects a lot of things in this game. And you know, especially in Rainmaker, you get a bit help in like popping the Rainmaker shield, which I like, and also like just coordinating the kills on ballers with your teammates. Yeah, your teammates, your friends, yeah, your teammates, which are hopefully friends. And yeah, just having the Object Shredder in that sense can like help deal damage on ballers, can be really helpful, I found out. And yeah, sometimes I put a bit more ink resistance, you know, when it's not Rainmaker I might do this. Especially tower control, when I'm on tower, it helps maybe a bit of survivability on the tower. And yeah, I think that's about it for Rabbit Blaster. Rabbit Pro, which is another weapon I play, I haven't had like as much experience with it, like only 43k, but I've been using mainly the same things. And I don't think it's a different weapon. I think Inkstorm is still really useful to build fast, so I use the special charge up, and same reasonings go for these. But yeah, it's something I need to play more. I haven't that much experience with it. Oh, I forgot to say, like, this is also something I use sometimes. I actually put a bit of Ink 7 main, because, you know, like my playstyle sometimes I like, you know, like for example, if I'm like shooting around the corner, like I'm trying to wait for someone to actually like appear to shoot. Like in some cases, like some people call it pre-firing or whatever you wanna call it, but basically shoot at some spot which doesn't even have a like enemy, or it won't look like this. But sometimes like I can shoot like one spot for a long time if I expect an enemy to appear there, and then, you know, I get the first hit in, which helps me to get the kill really easily. But yeah, I don't really want to, you know, get a lot of shots per minute. I want to get a lot of shots per tank. That's why I go for Ink 7 main, and that's different to Ink Recovery Up. With Ink Recovery Up, you often choose it if you want a lot of like actions per minute, and Ink 7 main and Ink 7 sub are more like actions per ink tank, so without going to recovery ink tank. But moving forward, Splatling is also something I've been using recently for port. For port I like it for a quick stingray, and it's really good at holding the lanes. So I'll probably keep using it for port for now. But yeah, I don't have a like good build for it. It's just, you know, something I already had, so I don't really like go for any specific gear. But same things like, you know, fast stingray, really nice in this game. Stingray is really strong right now. Run speed helps a bit with like inking patterns and spacing when you're shooting and so on. Like, it's not as strong in this game as it was in the previous game, but it's still pretty nice to have Spatlings, I found out. It's not mandatory anymore, but I think it's still pretty nice. And the object shredder, okay, the swim speed is kind of like I literally don't have any of the object shredders here, so you know I don't really have a choice in this regard yet. But I still think swim speed is pretty nice for Spatlings, because especially like port, when you think about it, it's pretty like, you know, there's a lot of movement on that map. Like when you think about it, if I'm holding lanes, like, you know, I ink in this lane, then I have to reposition myself quick to the another lane. And I think swim speed is pretty nice for this actually, because it helps me to do it a bit faster, and also like if someone like rushes me down, I can like reposition a bit faster. And other than that, it's pretty like simple build, I think. You know, just get a fast stingray. You know, get some nice kills with stingray, especially on port, really nice. And object shredder, really important part of the build, especially against ballers. This thing like slays ballers like insane speed. Like this, like Splatling deals so much damage. So you know, getting an object shredder Splatling on a baller is really good. And port, there's a lot of ballers typically. Like Splat zones is played out in a way where ballers just rush the zone really fast. So Splatling is really nice for that. Sloshing Machine, which is also something I plan on picking up a bit more. Again, not weapon I have much experience with on 72k, but still a pretty nice weapon. Okay, I'm just trying to find my stuff. Yeah, that's more helpful. Okay, so what's that? Okay, so going back. So the whole idea of this build is that I don't really use stingrays when I'm like in the middle of the map that much. Like, it's a pretty fast to charge stingray with this weapon. That's like another nice part about this weapon, and why it's pretty much one of the best weapons in the game right now. But like when I get a stingray, I typically don't use it in mid-fight. Like what instead I wait is that when I die, I only play this for tower control right now, but when I die I go back, and then I can use it from my own spawn to get really easy kills. And that's what special saver helps, and that's what comeback helps as well. And swim speed and ink resistance also like help with survivability. Luna, it's kind of the same thing, like getting baller, you die a lot, you special savers, you need a ball, it helps getting a ball a lot. Ink recovery, again, pretty ink hungry weapon, so you need something like comeback and a bit of ink recovery to help with that, and use of spamming bombs and stuff. And one sub of bomb defense is kind of like what you have for ink armor, not breaking as easily from random hits, but it's not really relevant anymore because ink armor is not as popular. And just moving forward, I want to go over the shooters a bit. So I don't really play shooters as much, of course, you know, I'm not really a shooter player, but it's still something I've been like playing as a recent, because you know it's kind of like what I need to play for my team to get good builds. But yeah, I'll just show really quickly. Again, this is not just refined. This is something pretty much what I had. But you know, I still show you. Like, why not? Why not? So you shouldn't maybe like do this builds 1-to-1 because they're not really good builds, but they're like just what I had already. So that's why I'm using them. But Aerospray, like pretty shameless. 50k, you can see like I haven't played Aerospray yet, pretty much at all. But like a special charge up, special power up, you know, it's not really a huge mystery what I'm going for with this build. just, you know, fastest bowler and a bit of special power up to make the bowler last, and you know, that's pretty much what this build is about. If you make actual Aerospray build, maybe swim speed would be nice, maybe comeback. Depends on a bit how you play. You could even run quick respawn, that also would be pretty good, I think. But for me, this is just something like, you know, this works well enough. And the thing with running this much special charge up is that there start to be diminishing returns. I recommend going to Splatoon wiki and actually checking the charts there to see like how the diminishing returns start, and then you can kind of like, you know, decide yourself what's the right amount for your build. But like this is already a lot, like the diminishing returns are pretty hard at this point, so it might not be a wise thing to run this much special charge up. Maybe a bit more special power up, or like I said, explain quick respawn or whatever. Junior, okay, I played this very little, so you know, things apply even more to this that I don't really know what I'm talking about that much. But yeah, I just typically run something along these lines, which is like, you know, again, nothing wild, fast ink armor, and like all the other stuff is basically for spamming bombs. Like that's the other thing about Junior that's nice compared to Aerospray, is that you have the Splat bomb, which is pretty nice sub, which you can, you know, use to space enemies or like have stuff to do when you're not like, you know, inking the ground and getting fast ink armors. But yeah, this is something I use for Art Academy right now, because I don't think having double bowler is that great for this stage. And I think quite a few teams run Blaster and Sniper, or pretty commonly both. And I think ink armor is still pretty good at dealing with that, because you get like, you can, if you have this, you can rush snipers really easily, and you can win pretty much any 1v1 against the Blaster. So I think especially like against certain team comps, ink armor is still very good. And yeah, I might also pick up this weapon for some other stages. I'll still like experiment with this, but this is about the build I use, like nothing fancy, again, nothing like special or very optimized, but yeah. And yeah, I just also mentioned Blaster, which is something I've been playing a lot for the 5k, 5, 8k, and first last one. How does it already if I go main? Oh, like this, nice. 80k, so yeah. Quite a bit still, I'd say, because it's really hard to get ink with these weapons. But yeah, typically I'll run something like this with Blaster. And I think it's a stylish build for one, my most stylish, but it's sadly I haven't like had much use for Blasters recently. It's just not something you know, that's really fitting the current state of the game that well, I'd say. And yeah, it's pretty hard to make stuff happen sometimes, but you know, it's still there. So one build I use, quick respawn. Okay, I still have like some other stuff to make me a better fighter, but also quick respawn. If you wanna play really aggressive, I think quick respawn is still pretty good. I actually made a video of this, so you can check that out if you want to hear my reasoning. I think it still stands. But yeah, this is variant, and you know, this is actually my main build is with bomb defense, which helps you in like 1v1s against burst bomb users such as Splattershot, which is really popular at the moment. And you know, ink recovery, same thing as Luna. It helps you be a bit more, you know, ink efficient, because this weapon in this game like uses insane amount of inks. Like it's really easy to you throw one sub weapon, you're like really fast out of ink. So you know, having a ink recovery in this regard helps you a bit with staying alive. Ink resistance, same thing, helps me stay alive, same as bomb defense. And yeah, this is not a weapon I get to use much, sadly, nowadays, but we'll see how it changes. And I think those are about my builds. I also have like mini build, but I don't really have it, so I don't really have anything to show in that regard. But it's mostly just like, you know, ink efficiency stuff, run speed, nothing like crazy in that regard. And yeah, that's about it. That's the video. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave me a comment. And yeah, hope this was informative, and see you guys next time.